Ever wished you could just like stand inside a lightning storm and be totally safe?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a superpower, right? Well, it's not magic. It's science. And the secret lies in something called a Faraday cage. So today we're diving into the story of Michael Faraday, the man who unlocked this secret, and in doing so sparked a revolution that electrified the world.
That's a great way to put it. The Faraday cage isn't just a cool science trick, right? It's a fundamental principle of electromagnetism that is woven into the fabric of our modern lives.
Okay, so before we even get into the cage itself, let's paint a picture of the world Faraday lived in. Imagine a time before light bulbs, before smartphones, before the internet. We're talking the early 1800s.
Right.
What was the understanding of electricity back then?
It was a time of mystery and wonder, Electricity was this wild, untamed force. People knew about static shocks, and they even created early batteries, right? But how it worked, how to control it, how to harness its power, that was all a big question mark.
So picture a world lit by candles and powered by steam. Electricity was more like magic than a science. It was something to be both awed by and afraid of.
Absolutely. I mean, think of lightning, a dramatic display of raw electrical power, both beautiful and terrifying, right? People were fascinated by it, but they also wanted to understand it, to make it less unpredictable, less dangerous.
And that's where Michael Faraday enters the scene. But here's the thing that blows my mind. Faraday wasn't a scientist by training. He didn't come from a wealthy family or have a fancy education. His story is one of pure curiosity and relentless determination.
It really is. Faraday was born in 1791, the son of a blacksmith in England. He had very little formal education. Can you believe it? The man who had unlocked the secrets of electricity actually started out as a bookbinder's apprentice. He spent his days binding books, but his mind was always hungry for knowledge.
So he's binding these books, surrounded by knowledge, and he's just soaking it all up. Talk about being in the right place at the right time, even if it wasn't a lab or a university.
Exactly. Faraday devoured every science book he could get his hands on. He attended public lectures whenever possible. And it was at one of these lectures that his life took a dramatic turn.
Okay, here's where the story gets almost cinematic. Picture young Faraday sitting in a crowded lecture hall, completely captivated by the words of the famous chemist Humphrey Davy. It's like a scene from a movie, right?
It really is. Davy was a superstar of the scientific world, and Faraday was completely enthralled by his lectures. But he didn't just sit there passively. He meticulously took notes. And afterward, he did something incredibly bold.
Okay, I've got to know, what did he do? What kind of move does a bookbinder's apprentice pull to get the attention of a scientific rock star like Humphrey Davy?
He took his meticulously detailed lecture notes, bound them into a beautiful 300-page book, and sent it to Davy as a sort of application. It was a combination of passion, dedication, and, let's be honest, a little bit of guts.
That's amazing. It's like the ultimate fan letter, but with science instead of autographs. So what happened? Did Davy see something special in this young, self-taught scientist?
He absolutely did. Davy was impressed by Faraday's dedication and his obvious thirst for knowledge. He offered Faraday a job as his assistant, which opened up a whole new world of scientific exploration for the young bookbinder. It was a pivotal moment, a chance encounter that would change the course of history.
Talk about a lucky break. But it wasn't just luck, right? It was Faraday's relentless curiosity and willingness to seize the moment. He put himself out there, and it paid off.
You're right. It's a testament to the power of initiative and passion. Imagine suddenly going from binding books to working in the lab of one of the most prominent scientists of the time. It was a dream come true for Faraday, and he was determined to make the most of it.
So this is where Faraday really dives headfirst into the world of scientific research. And it leads him to his most famous creation, the Faraday cage. But before we unveil the magic of the cage itself, let's pause here for a moment.
Yes, let's give everyone a chance to absorb that part of the story. Faraday's journey is an incredible example of how passion and curiosity can lead to amazing things, and we're just getting started.
All right, so we've set the stage. We've got this world on the cusp of an electrical revolution, and we've got Michael Faraday, this self-taught scientist working alongside Humphrey Davy. What happens next? How does the Faraday cage come into the picture?
So picture Faraday in the lab, right?
Yep.
Experimenting with electricity, trying to understand its quirks and its secrets. He's not just observing, he's tinkering, pushing boundaries, challenging assumptions.
I love that image, the bookbinder turned scientist, fearlessly experimenting with this powerful, mysterious force. So how does he, stumble upon the concept of the Faraday cage? What's the aha moment?
It's 1836, and Faraday unveils his creation to the world. And get this, it's not some complicated contraption with gears and wires and all that. It's surprisingly simple. A metal box, but what this metal box does is nothing short of revolutionary.
Okay, you've got my attention. A metal box. That's it. It sounds almost too simple to be true. So how does this metal box tame the wild beast of electricity?
Here's the mind-blowing part. Imagine a lightning bolt striking the outside of this metal box. What happens? You'd think the electricity would surge right through it, right? But it doesn't. The metal cage acts like a shield, redistributing the electrical charge across its surface, effectively neutralizing it inside.
Wait, so you're telling me that if I were inside this metal box while lightning is striking it, I'd be completely safe?
Yeah.
That the electricity just disappears?
Exactly. It's like creating a safe zone within a storm. The electrical charge can't penetrate the cage, so the inside remains completely unaffected. It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
It really is. But hold on, how did Faraday even figure this out? Was it a lucky accident, or was there a specific experiment that led to this discovery?
Faraday was incredibly meticulous and methodical in his experiments. He didn't just stumble upon this. He designed experiments using something called an ice pail to demonstrate how electrical charges distribute themselves on conductors.
An ice pail? That sounds a bit random. How does an ice pail relate to electricity?
It's actually quite brilliant. He lowered a charged object into a metal pail and observed how the charge induced an opposite charge on the inner surface of the pail. This demonstrated the principle that would later become the basis for the Faraday cage.
Okay, so he used an ice pail to prove a concept that would later be applied to a larger metal box, the Faraday cage. That's fascinating. So we've got this incredible invention, but why should we care? Was it just a cool science demo, or did it have like real world implications?
This is where it gets really interesting. The Faraday cage wasn't just about safety. It was about understanding. It proved that electricity wasn't random. It followed rules that could be understood and harnessed.
So it's more than just protection. It's about proving that this mysterious force can be tamed, that it can be made to work for us. That must have been a huge shift in thinking at the time.
Absolutely. And it was this shift in thinking sparked by the Faraday cage that paved the way for the electric revolution.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. But help me connect the dots. How does a metal box lead to the world of electric lights, motors, and all the gadgets we rely on today?
Think about it. If you can control electricity, you can make it do work for you. The Faraday cage was a crucial step in that process because it helped to demystify electricity, to show that it could be controlled and predicted. This paved the way for the development of the electric motor, the generator, and all sorts of other inventions that rely on our understanding of electromagnetism.
So the Faraday cage is like the foundation upon which the entire electric age is built. That's mind-blowing.
It's true, and that's just the beginning. What's even more amazing is that we're still surrounded by Faraday cages today. They're everywhere, silently protecting us and our technology without us even realizing it.
Wait, seriously. So we're living in a world built on Faraday cages. Tell me more. This is getting really intriguing.
Think about it. Airplanes are essentially giant Faraday cages, protecting the sensitive electronics inside from lightning strikes. Data centers, those vast repositories of information that power our digital world, are shielded from electromagnetic interference by Faraday cages, preventing data loss.
Hold on. So every time I board a plane, I'm stepping inside a giant Faraday cage. And all my online data, photos, emails, all safe and sound because of this principle. That's incredible.
It really is. And it's not just those big dramatic examples. Even something as commonplace as a microwave oven uses a Faraday cage to contain the electromagnetic energy, making sure it cooks your food and not you.
You know, it's funny. We started this deep dive talking about how the Faraday cage sounds like something out of sci-fi, and it turns out we're living in that sci-fi world. It's just that the Faraday cage is so seamlessly integrated into our lives that we don't even see it.
Exactly. And that's a testament to the genius of Faraday's discovery. He didn't just invent a cool gadget. He unlocked a fundamental principle that would shape the modern world.
So beyond the practical applications, what was Faraday's lasting impact on the scientific community? Did his work influence other scientists? Did his discoveries inspire future generations?
Absolutely. Faraday's work had a profound impact on the trajectory of science. His meticulous experiments and insightful observations laid the groundwork for some of the most important scientific advancements of all time.
Give me some examples. Who else was influenced by Faraday's work? Who picked up the torch and carried it forward?
One of the most notable examples is James Clerk Maxwell, a brilliant Scottish physicist. Maxwell was deeply inspired by Faraday's work on electromagnetism, and he used it as the foundation for his own groundbreaking theories. He developed the equations that unified electricity and magnetism, showing that there were two sides of the same coin, a fundamental force of the universe.
So Faraday's work was essential for Maxwell's discoveries, which in turn revolutionized our understanding of the universe. That's quite a legacy.
It is, and it goes even further. Even Albert Einstein, considered by many to be the greatest physicist of all time, was deeply influenced by Faraday. He kept a portrait of Faraday in his study and often cited him as a source of inspiration. That's some serious scientific street cred.
Wow. So the ripple effects of Faraday's discoveries are still being felt today, centuries later. That's truly amazing.
It really is, and I think it speaks to the power of curiosity, of that relentless pursuit of knowledge. Remember, this was a man with limited formal education who, through sheer determination, revolutionized our understanding of the universe.
It's a story that goes beyond science, right? It's about the potential that lies within each of us, the ability to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, to push the boundaries of what's possible. And that's something truly inspiring. At the beginning of this deep dive, I asked you to imagine standing safely inside a lightning storm. And now after learning about Faraday and his work, it doesn't seem so crazy anymore, does it?
Not at all. We are, in a sense, living inside Faraday cages every single day. Our cars, our homes, our planes, all of these structures, they act as Faraday cages, right? Protecting us from the invisible electrical forces that surround us. It's a pretty remarkable thought.
It really is. And I think it's easy to forget in our world of instant gratification and technological marvels just how revolutionary Faraday's discoveries were. He didn't just invent a cool gadget. He changed the way we understand the universe and our place within it.
And it all started with a simple question. A spark of curiosity, right? What if I could contain this force? What if I could understand it? What if I could make it work for us? Those what ifs led to an entire age of innovation, one that continues to this day.
So the next time you flip a light switch, charge your phone, or even just watch a thunderstorm from the safety of your home, remember Michael Faraday, the bookbinder's apprentice who dared to dream big and unlock the secrets of electricity? His legacy lives on in every wire, every circuit, every spark of innovation that powers our modern world.
And who knows what other mysteries are out there waiting for someone with the curiosity and the courage to unlock them. Maybe the next Faraday is listening to this right now, inspired to ask their own what ifs and change the world in ways we can't even imagine.
That's a fantastic thought to leave our listeners with. So keep asking those questions, keep exploring, keep pushing the boundaries of what you think is possible, because you never know, you might just spark the next revolution.